Air Act, right? And by the late 1960s, 70s, as we saw in Flint, Michigan, what was being violated, the Safe Water Drinking Act. And so these pieces of legislation, only in the latter part of our century, have drawn the attention of the institution of government, right? And now we have the as we saw in the documentary, right? How are these climate change examples impacting animals, mammals, marine life, right? The Endangered Species Act is continually violated, right, by natural resource energy development, right? So, part of the reason that these multinational corporations globally relocate to develop their natural resources in other parts of the world is that other nation states don't have these protective laws like we have here in the United States. So if you're going to develop natural resources, you have to comply and meet the standards, right? Unless you violate them, like what's currently being researched and analyzed in places like Flint, Michigan, right? And Flint, Michigan is only one place. There's hundreds of places like that where people are drinking or drinking unsafe water, right? So again, social reform as a result of movements coming forth, creating greater societal protections for us as a population, right? And again, as a nation state, the criticism that's thrown toward the United States that we've moved out of the Paris Climate Accord, right, as of 2017, right? We're the brunt end of criticism because we're such a small percentage of the world's population, but we emit a significant amount of pollution, right? Probably second only to China. So these theories, these outcomes, many times we have reform movements during the example in race and ethnicity, revolutionary movements like the Black Panthers, right? Rebellious movements like we see in certain situations regarding race and ethnicity as well, right? That we see the alt-right, white nationalism, depicting collective behavior, right? And like I said on Monday, right, because of our First Amendment rights, we have to afford every organization, national, non-governmental organization, the same rights, right? A lot of social movements out of pop culture, right, as a result of different social situations in the United States that also are exemplifying collective behavior. Many times we have new norms emerge as a result of social movements. New values come forward that stimulate collectives that form as organizations. Resource mobilization theory, right? Utilizing philanthropists, right? Organizations to support, like many of the nonprofit, non-governmental organizations that you're researching and learning activity for reflect resource mobilization because they get their funds to operate to address environmental issues privately rather than from the federal government. And your last thing is that you may see in a short answer essay question is to provide an example of a social movement that we have addressed throughout the duration of the semester. So make sure you go through this study guide, with a fine-tooth comb. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to drop me an email, a phone call, or stop by the office, right? If you'd like to go over and review your academic standing before the final, I welcome that too, okay? I'll be here most of the days leading up to Monday, probably till evening. So if you want to call first to make an appointment or whip an email to make an appointment, I've met with several students who we've gone over their point accumulation to determine what they need to achieve their academic standing at the end of this week, right, at the end of finals. So the last two learning activities, right? We have, like I said, an hour and 50 minutes. The exam's traditionally gonna take like an hour and 15, right? Like 1 and 2. And some of you in those first two exams finished them in less than 40 minutes, right? So it's about the same time frame that you should prepare for the final, okay? Any questions before we leave? Okay, good luck on all your finals, and we'll see you one more time. Oh yes, and we'll do the learning activities. I'll take maybe 2-3 volunteers for the ethnic family tree and 2 or 3 volunteers on their organization.